But God created us all to be who we are. And that is good. It's not just good enough. That is good.
Hello and welcome to CT Brandon. My name is Charles and I'm one of the pastors here. Hey, thank you so much for joining us online today. And if you're watching this when we premiere it and you're a dad or a dad figure in someone's life, happy Father's Day. In just a few moments, Pastor Michael, the lead pastor here at CT, is going to share an amazing message with us. You won't want to miss it. And if you're new here, we would love to get to know you. Would you just head over to ctbrandon.com and click on the I'm New link there and give us a bit of info and we can get in touch with you during the week. The link's also in the description below. Hey, make sure to stick around to the end. We have some exciting things happening here at CT we think you might want to know about. So let's turn things over to Pastor Michael.
Over the next month, we will be sharing stories of hope with you. These summertime stories of hope are going to be shared by some of our amazing team right here at CT and even some friends of CT. So I am so glad that we get these opportunities to share from our personal lives how Christ has been at work over the years. I know that my life is continually being impacted, and I believe that God wants the same for you. Today, I want to tell you about 3 fathers in my life. None of these are biological fathers of mine. In fact, one of them isn't a father at all. These are just ordinary people that God put in the right place at the right time. And if I wasn't looking for them, I might not even be here to share them today. I want to give some background though. Let's start with my first ministry position. Now, this was a really great church, a place where I got to experiment and figure out how to do ministry. Part of the culture was formed with a desire to host and perhaps even create a revival. Now, there was an unwritten rule to cultivate spiritual results. I don't think this is uncommon. Now, there were many idolized ministries, personalities, prophets, evangelists, apostles, pastors that we would try to emulate because being like them and doing what they did, we hoped would create the same results that they got. Now, I have some great memories and friendships from this time. The people there were incredible. Unfortunately, it took 4 years of that to nearly burn me out. My body even tried warning me several times that I couldn't keep up. Oftentimes our bodies are great indicators for something being wrong somewhere in our lives, and I didn't listen. But when we don't rest in God and let Him be in control, something will suffer. And in this case, it was me. So instead of taking a break from ministry, we just shifted. We moved on to the next thing and hoping a reset would be enough to sustain us and get us back on track spiritually, personally, and even physically. I couldn't have been more wrong. I started working as a public speaker and traveling a lot. And while working for one particular organization, things got worse in the burnout and mental and even physical health department. This organization at that time focused on a corporate environment of expansion, image building, and prestige at all costs. Nothing mattered more than the image you created for churches and financial donors. Now, there was a large gap between reality and the portrayed image of success. To put it simply, personal character was not celebrated. After 2 years of this, I was more broken than ever. I took some time being disillusioned with church, with people that portrayed themselves as godly, and took a step back. I went to the driving range during the day and worked for a company setting up and tearing down lighting rigs for concerts at night. Not ministry. But knowing I still wanted to fulfill the call that I knew God had on my life, I did send out some resumes, hoping that something out there was real, something was safe that I could go to, somewhere I could land. Then from the resumes that went out, a seasoned leader took a chance on me. But, my skill set now included things like how to burn out and push in ministry at the expense of my marriage, my health, my safety, and even my future. It also included how to use ministry as a way to build my ego and pretend I was fine when I wasn't. Because these are the things I'd learned from the environments and leaders around me for so many years, and it was never corrected. But when that leader took a chance on me, part of the process was to exchange my credentials, my pastoral credentials, from the denomination I was with to the denomination that church was with. So I began this process. And this was a great district run by leaders that were very healthy, and they prioritized the health of their leaders as much they did as the growth of the churches and the denomination. It was an amazing balance. There were long talks, there were assessments, there was coaching, both formal and informal. But there was one piece of coaching from the district superintendent that changed my life. Now write this down if you write anything else down. He said, in your life, you are going to need 3 people. That was the advice. 3. You need 3 people. Someone older and more experienced, someone slightly older, and someone who's a contemporary of yours. Now, these people need to make you a better person. People you really spend quality time with. People who won't let you complain. People who will eat with you and travel with you. People who are painfully patient and kind. People who act a lot like Jesus. This was the best advice I was ever given. Today, as we talk about Father's Day, let's call them the 3 fathers in our lives. Now, I didn't go looking for these guys. They were just there. They essentially found me. They probably didn't even realize it, but they were my 3 fathers in that season. One of them isn't even a father at all, as I've already said. Now, the first father on this list was my senior pastor at the time. I worked for him for a lot of years. This is the guy that took a chance on a broken leader who was ready to lead anyways. He saw my flaws and taught me the opposite. This was a leader who wouldn't let me run when things got tough. In fact, I tried resigning once and he shredded the letter and chuckled. We all need people who tell us to grow up and get back to work. There are 1,000 excuses to quit what we're doing and give up, especially halfway through. It gets tough, just walk away. We need these people. As a youth pastor, he would coach me through difficult conversations with parents, and he did so in such a way that it made me stronger. And I came out the other side as a better leader. Pastor Ken was his name, and he also made me take breaks. I learned that there was always enough time for a par 3 in the middle of a day. And if I needed to talk, he was always willing to go for a bowl of Vietnamese soup and have a good, hearty talk. As a senior leader, he didn't let me stay the way I was. He knew I was better than that. Pastor Ken will always be my senior pastor. I owe him my career for these things. Now, my second father is not a pastor. He was just a guy named Mark. Now, Mark is a businessman who was also, at the church I was at, he was a youth support leader. And he was a board member. And his daughter ended up being one of my interns. It's an amazing family. Mark was responsible for pushing me to dream bigger than was normally achievable. He was the type of guy that helped fuel dreams and make sure you didn't get distracted halfway through. Small thinking? No. Small thinking was never on the table. It didn't take long for an ordinary youth service with this type of coaching to become something that hosted hundreds of kids on a weekly basis and create a citywide youth culture of worship. We would host worship concerts that would hit capacity on a very large church because someone says you aren't thinking big enough. We can totally pull that off. We need these people in our lives. The people that say, yeah, but it's possible. Stop thinking negatively. It's possible. Along with all of that, Mark taught me to be a good husband, a father, and a friend. He modeled it by having us over to his house and making us part of his family. For many, many years, we shared Thanksgiving at their house and many, many other meals together. We even took vacations together as families. And we went camping together and we just shared life. It was amazing. Mark is a phenomenal mentor, and I'm very thankful for him. Now, my last father in my life is actually a bit younger than me, and he isn't a father. He's an ex-roadie for a hardcore band that works as an optician and collects vinyl records, and somehow ended up on our church planting team. I don't even remember how it happened, but his name is Michael. And Michael eventually married one of our youth students, and they're both still very involved in our lives. I learned from Michael that everyone, I mean everyone, is welcome at the table of Jesus, which we talk about here at CT a lot. And we need this lesson. And we needed that lesson in that time of church planting. He was patient with people that I couldn't be patient with. He would seek out and spend time with people far from God who didn't fit into a normal church. And he showed Jesus to everyone. And it was absolutely contagious. Michael was good for me because he always modeled that it is good to just be yourself. I've talked about this before here at CT, but there is a stigma and a pressure to be like any other professional pastor out there. I don't feel that pressure because of these types of mentorships. This is something I just can't do. Like you, we were all created as individuals, and it's okay to just be you. I was so glad that I learned this lesson because the tendencies from the past was still there. And to try and be like another leader and someone that wasn't me, it would have came up. But God created us all to be who we are. And that is good. It's not just good enough. That is good. We need these three people in our lives. In Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, it says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Guys, look around you today. Who's there to help you up? Who is pouring into your life? Did you know that you can't pour into other people's lives unless you're being poured into first? But okay, weird concept though. So what does that actually mean? What does pouring into someone's life mean? You know that you have been poured into when someone leaves you feeling more hope-filled for the future than you were before, and that you want to be more like Jesus than ever before. The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 1:11 says, "Follow my example as I follow the example of Christ." We all need fathers in our lives, and I encourage you to find 3. One older, one wiser, and one a little bit around the same age as you. All 3 are really important because they're going to see different things in your life. These guys, without knowing it, will be able to call out good things for your future and encourage you when they spend time with you. I believe that this is a way forward for the church in Canada, mentoring, discipling, and building up the next generation, just as we seek that mentorship from those around us. And I pray today that you find your 3 fathers. I pray that you find them this year, this week, this month, and the mentorship and personal discipleship become important for you, and they start to build your life in such a Christ-filled way that there is no going back. Bless you and have a great day.
Thank you for choosing to spend part of your day with us. We would love to know what part of the service stood out to you, or maybe you have some questions. Would you just let us know in the comments below? If you're new here, don't forget to click that link in the description below, and please do connect with us. We would really love to get to know you. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button. On June 3rd, we had our second annual garage sale, and where all the proceeds go to help send children and youth to camp, and we were able to raise $1,540. So a huge shout out to all the people who helped set up the garage sale, and to those who donated items. There are going to be children and youth this summer that get to go to camp because of you. Thank you so much. And to those who bought stuff, do you know a youth in grades 5 to 12, or are you in grades 5 to 12? Make sure to check out all the amazing events happening over summer. There are trips to water parks, different camps to go to, afternoon and evening events, and so much more. Make sure to click on the Life tab at ctbrandon.com. More details on these and other events happening here at CT, you can find them all on our website at the Events tab. Here at CT, we believe giving is an expression of worship. And if you're new here, please do not feel compelled to give. This one is on us. God doesn't need our money. It's always about us, the giver. It invites us into an act of worship, or a thing that reorientates our priorities, placing God and the needs of others before our own personal desires, to remember that giving is important. When we give, it's an act of our love or adoration, and worship of God. I can tell you right now that firsthand I have experienced growth and a sense of peace in my own Christian faith journey. If you're new here, please do not feel compelled to give. I just want to say that again. The money we receive here at CT helps support everything we do, like the parking lot party we just had this past weekend, or it helps support the missionaries that are overseas that are working with those who are homeless or in need, or the different other ministries and organizations here in Brandon and the Westman region. So thank you so much for your continued generosity and your tithes and your offerings. So those of you that did come prepared to give, you can either e-transfer info@ctbrandon.com, or if you prefer another method, you will find all of those on our website on the Give tab. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. Thank you once again for joining us and for connecting online with us through this service. Make sure to also connect with us through Instagram and Facebook during the week, and we'll see you next time.